This week, Siskel and Ebert review L.A. cop Nick Nolte fighting crime his own way in Mulholland Falls. An unknown writer gets her 15 minutes of fame in I Shot Andy Warhol. And Janine Garofalo thinks she can't compete with Uma Thurman in The Truth About Cats and Dogs.
Message. Your presence is required back in Chicago.
It's cold in Chicago, which is why I came out here. Is Mr. Flynn being charged with a crime?
What are you, his lawyer?
Nick Nolte is a cop with unsavory methods and a sordid connection to a murder under investigation in the thriller Mulholland Falls, one of 5 new films we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert, along with a new comedy starring Uma Thurman, a docudrama about Andy Warhol, and also a 3D movie that's setting box office records wherever it plays. Something for everyone on the show. I'm Gene Siskel with Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Our first movie is Mulholland Falls, and it's a police melodrama that seems inspired by hard-boiled detective stories and movies like Chinatown and the whole look of film noir. It takes place in the early 1950s and is about a special 4-man squad of the Los Angeles Police Department based on a true squad called the Hat Squad, who cruise around town in a Buick convertible and enforce the law according to their own highly selective standards. The 4 men, who are sort of the reservoir dogs of the LAPD, are played by Nick Nolte, Michael Madsen, Chaz Palminteri, and Chris Penn.
You guys can't do this. This is America.
This isn't America, Jack. This is L.A.
The plot centers on an attractive young woman played by Jennifer Connelly, who is halfway between being a hooker and being an innocent bystander.
Say, Kenny, we have a little party.
No, I don't do that stuff, Uma.
You don't want to see this.
Yes, I do. Allison, call the cops.
I am the cops, Kenny.
At one point, she was Nick Nolte's lover, but when he finds her dead body in the desert, it appears she was involved with powerful men who wanted to get rid of her. Just as the trail in Chinatown led to the precious commodity of water, so the trail in Mulholland Falls leads to the priceless commodity of the post-war years, nuclear power.
Put your hands in the air, you will be shot.
The plot owes a lot to Raymond Chandler, who used crime as a ticket to travel through all of Los Angeles' social strata. The performances by the 4 cops develop a nice, hard-boiled rhythm, and there's a tender subplot involving Nolte's love for his wife, played by Melanie Griffith. Mulholland Falls does an entertaining job of standing halfway between the stylish crime classics of the 40s and 50s and the ironic recycling of the Pulp Fiction generation.
Well, Roger, you're being really nice of this picture, and I can't support it because I saw this as much closer to Chinatown than you did, and it just doesn't match up. And I'm watching it all the way, and it's pretty much down the line, except for the family connections involved in Chinatown. Also, I thought that this picture, because the script was so familiar to me, that I felt that it was really just decor that I was watching. So the convertible and the hats and the clothing and the smoking, and I really didn't care. And the big revelation, you knew what was coming, I knew what was coming. There's no payoff, Roger.
It's not Chinatown. I didn't say it was Chinatown. It's not as good as Chinatown, but it is a good movie, and it's an entertaining movie. It is stylish to look at, and also the texture of the performances. For example, John Malkovich always brings something interesting to a role, and here is General Timms, who is dying of cancer and trying to run his radioactive...
I mean, I know, he's sitting on the porch, but it's behavior, Roger. In Chinatown...
There's nothing wrong with behavior, Gene. Movies are all behavior.
No. What I'm just simply saying is that there isn't a narrative drive here that I really felt, because I knew where it was going.
There's the Chandler type of thing, where it's not a strong narrative drive. It's the detective goes through these various places, meets different people, goes to strange locations.
The more you're familiar with... Let me put it this way to the audience. The more you're familiar with
this kind of material, the more you enjoy seeing it done well.
No, I don't think this is done that well. Our next movie is called Sunset Park. It's a formula picture, to be sure, a sports film about misfits who pull together for the big game, except that this one, I think, works because of a bright screenplay that manages to break out of the formula at just the right places. Rhea Perlman stars as a committed inner-city school teacher who takes an extra job as the boys' basketball coach to pick up an extra few bucks, and she's the first one to admit she doesn't know a thing about coaching basketball.
You want us to break in shirts and skins and scrimmage?
Right. Break into shirts and skins and scrimmage.
I ain't playing for no lady coach, B.
With the starters against the scrubs?
Exactly.
In most Formula Sports pictures, virtually all of the kids are totally incompetent athletes, but not in Sunset Park. Some of the young men at the school are truly talented. They just need motivation.
But you guys got some homework to do.
Homework? Come on, this is basketball. Ain't no homework in basketball.
Yeah, well, before the next game, you are all responsible to bring in a quote about what it takes to make a winner. Whoever doesn't play.
The leading character on the student team is played by Fredro Starr, and he has plenty of charisma.
This Mr. Dunbar, right? Jamaican guy, goes to work every day for the transit. Then there's Mr. Collins. He drinks liquor all day and never had a job in his life. They both live in the same projects. They both live the same life. Makes you think, why even work?
Another formula element is that the team members are ethnically diverse. Well, not in this picture. Here they're exclusively inner-city blacks, but their characters have been clearly and memorably drawn. And there are plenty of dramas away from the basketball court, and they're also not predictable, except maybe for the one student who needs some heavy-duty tutoring. I really like Sunset Park. It introduces a whole lot of new talent, and Rhea Perlman's work is a revelation. She makes the leap here from TV to movies. Sunset Park, definitely thumbs up for me.
Well, I had a lot of affection for the film and for her performance, Gene, but I can't vote thumbs up.
Wow.
I feel that it's really not very well directed and not very well written in terms of trying to move in a way that carries us along with it. It keeps coming to a halt or going off on little sidetracks. But Rhea Perlman's character and the way that she plays it, those are the really good things.
Well, what about the, you know what I'm talking about, the Formula Sports movie? And this film breaks it down. Somebody is writing there and knows where it should go, and they say, no, we're not going to take that path. We're going to write a little. And how about this Fred Starr? Wasn't he interesting to you?
He had a screen presence. I would look at this and I would say it's a screen test for a better movie, but I don't think this movie really delivers on the level that you say.
Well, the kind of pictures, you know, these Blackboard jungle pictures,
it doesn't measure up with Hoosiers. It doesn't measure up with Hoop Dreams. I mean, if you want to see movies about...
Hoop Dreams is greatness, okay?
And Hoosiers is too. It was on your list of the best films.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Not Hoosiers.
Should have been then.
Not Hoosiers. Okay.
Okay, when we come back...
All righty, let's help the dog first, and then we'll help you. Right now, your dog is feeling very, very threatened, so if you want to get close enough to take the skates off, you're going to have to approach him in the submissive position.
Oh, sorry?
Get down on all fours.
In that scene from the sparkling new comedy, The Truth About Cats and Dogs, Janine Garofalo was a smart and funny veterinarian on a Santa Monica talk radio station whose sensible advice and sexy voice captures the heart of one of her listeners, played by Ben Chaplin. He asks her out on a date, but she thinks she's not pretty enough and will only disappoint him, so she lies to him about her looks.
What do you think I look like?
I don't know if the voice is anything to go by. You look great.
I'm 5'10", blonde, thin, hard to miss.
She convinces her neighbor, played by Uma Thurman, to go out with him instead, and since Chaplin has never seen her, she says, he'll never know Thurman isn't the woman he asked out. Of course, their voices are different, but they dream up a story to explain that discrepancy.
You didn't show up yesterday?
No, I'm sorry. We had this emergency thing, didn't we, Donna?
Yeah,
Cat emergency.
It was a situation.
What?
Nothing, sorry. It's just you sound completely different on the air.
Oh, you should hear me in the shower.
The Truth About Cats and Dogs is a movie with some of the same qualities as While You Were Sleeping. It's a love story that depends on a very complicated plot and lots of mistaken identities, while at the same time it has a sweet and simple underlying romance. And Janine Garofalo is absolutely winning and charming in the leading role. So far in her career, she's played sidekicks and wise guys and The Date from Hell, but here is a film that takes the time to discover what makes her special, and the result is a feel-good movie with lots of magic and wit and even a little heartfelt truth. I like this movie a whole lot.
I did too, and let's get real to the point of why we like her character so much, and that is She's not glamorous. She's not a movie star. She isn't as glamorous as Sandra Bullock even, who isn't all that glamorous. This is a plain woman who has a low self-image. She's talented, but, you know, she doesn't look like Uma Thurman, and, and that's what colors her whole attitude toward herself. And there are, by the way, millions, tens of millions of people who feel that way, male and female, about themselves. So finally, we have a character that people, I think, are going to fall in love with because she's so darn real.
I gotta back off a second here, Gene, and just ask you if you don't think that Janeane Garofalo is pretty, because I do.
I think she is pretty.
She's a plain woman. She's a plain woman by Hollywood standards, which is to say, she's a beautiful woman.
She doesn't.
Basically, who plays.
I said she doesn't think she's Uma Thurman. She has a complex. That character.
And she's warm and bright on the inside too,
absolutely,
and very smart.
What I'm saying is,
what the movie is about how the two minds
Why don't the movies show more characters like this? People who are real, live, breathing, and smart, and intelligent, self-doubting.
They're hard to write. They're hard to play.
She can do it.
But they're easy to watch.
This is a woman who I will follow in any movie if she can play characters this smart.
Our next movie is named Wings of Courage, and this is a technically amazing 3D movie shot in the IMAX process, which uses a towering screen 5 stories high and dozens of surround sound speakers to create the most impressive and enveloping audio-visual experience you can have. The film stars Craig Sheffer as a pioneering airmail pilot in the Andes in the 1930s. His little plane is forced down in a storm. Those film clips, of course, don't capture either the 3D or the overwhelming presence of the IMAX screen, but try to imagine yourself enveloped by this picture.
We're not stopping, I'll be the brake.
To create its groundbreaking 3D effect, the IMAX theaters don't use those cheesy little cardboard glasses we used to get at the movies. Instead, it uses these high-tech headsets, which have separately polarized lenses that flicker invisibly in perfect sync with the screen according to radio signals they pick up. So the 3D image really seems to leap out at you, and built into each headset are small stereo speakers on either side right next to your ears, so that in Wings of Courage, for example, while the big surround sound speakers are booming out with the sounds of nature, the little speakers are representing the hero's private thoughts as if he's whispering into your ear. Wings of Courage is not great drama, but it's certainly great showmanship, and I was really impressed by the experience.
Well, I'm looking forward to a better film in this process. I mean, you know, he's on a mountain, he has to crawl his way across.
Yeah.
And sometimes you know what, this process, I think, is so good that you don't need the standard, you know, eye-poking stuff out of 3D. Just if they'll film a story, I'm sure it's very costly, but if they'll film a good story and use this with some restraint, I think it will make a better experience. But frequently, you know, you'll get those moments where the cliff is right there sticking into your eye.
You know, it's doing amazing business. It's playing in Chicago and a couple of other markets, and it's coming around to the various IMAX theaters because it is so good. I mean, it's like you take the kids and they're amazed too.
And I wasn't, frankly. I want a better story than this.
So your thumbs down.
You got it.
Okay.